The new year always arrives quietly, not with headlines, not with confirmations, but with small moments that somehow say everything. And as the calendar turned, fans across the world didn't expect much more than a simple greeting. A polite message, a short smile, a standard New Year wish. But what Park Bo-gum and Kim Yoo-jung gave this time felt different. It felt warmer. It felt closer. And for many fans, it felt deeply emotional. Because this wasn't just a New Year greeting. It felt like a shared moment, a pause, a soft reminder, and maybe, just maybe, a sign of something that has quietly grown over time. Park Bo-gum has always been known for his sincerity. Not the loud kind, not the performative kind, but the gentle, steady kind that feels honest even when he says very little. So when his New Year message was released, fans immediately noticed the tone. He spoke about gratitude, about carrying warmth into the year ahead, about remembering the people who stayed beside him quietly. His smile wasn't wide. It was soft, calm, almost reflective, and fans felt it instantly, because it didn't feel like a celebrity speaking to an audience. It felt like someone speaking from the heart. Then came Kim Yoo-jung's message. Bright, but not rushed. Cheerful, but grounded. She spoke about growth, about learning to slow down, about hoping everyone would enter the new year with kindness toward themselves. Her eyes lingered just a moment longer than usual. And fans noticed. They always do. Individually, both messages were touching. But what happened next is what sent emotions soaring. Because fans didn't just watch them separately. They connected them. The tone, the timing, the shared sense of warmth. It felt like two voices speaking the same emotional language without ever speaking to each other publicly. And that's where the feeling began. For longtime fans, this wasn't a random reaction. Park Bo-gum and Kim Yoo-jung share a history that goes far beyond one project or one appearance. They grew up in the industry together. They understood fame early. They learned restraint early. They learned how to smile while protecting their inner world. And when they worked together, fans didn't just see chemistry. They saw comfort. The kind that doesn't need attention. The kind that feels safe. So when the new year arrived, and both of them chose words about warmth, gratitude, and quiet strength, fans felt something stir. Because it felt familiar. It felt like two people standing in the same emotional place, just on different screens. Social media lit up, not with wild rumors, but with feelings. Fans wrote, "This feels comforting." Why does this feel emotional? It's like they're wishing us together. No claims, no accusations, just emotions. And sometimes that's louder than proof. What made this moment even more powerful was what wasn't said. There were no photos together, no joint greeting, no obvious connection. Yet fans felt connected anyway, because the sincerity was undeniable. And sincerity resonates, especially at the start of a new year. Many fans began revisiting old interviews, old behind-the-scenes clips, moments where Park Bo-gum looked at Kim Yoo-jung with quiet respect, moments where Kim Yoo-jung laughed freely around him, not because of romance, but because of trust. And trust is rare. The New Year greeting didn't confirm anything, but it reminded fans of something important, that not all connections need to be loud, that not all bonds need explanation. Some simply exist steadily, quietly, and sincerely. For Park Bo-gum, the past few years have been about reflection and maturity. He's chosen his words carefully, his steps thoughtfully, his presence gently, and his New Year message reflected that. He didn't speak of achievements. He spoke of people, of appreciation, of carrying warmth forward. Kim Yoo-jung, too, has evolved beautifully. From child star to leading actress, from bright energy to balanced confidence. Her New Year message felt like a moment of calm joy. Not excitement, not pressure, just peace. Fans began asking a different kind of question. Not, are they together? But, why does this feel so comforting? And maybe that's the answer. Because at the beginning of a year filled with uncertainty, people crave comfort more than confirmation. Some fans said the greetings felt like a quiet promise, not to each other, but to fans. A promise of sincerity, of warmth, of staying true. And when two people known for kindness offer that energy at the same time, it multiplies. The phrase starting the year with love began trending, not because of romance rumors, but because of emotional resonance. Love doesn't always mean romance. Sometimes it means care, respect, gentleness, and that's exactly what fans felt. The beauty of this moment is its simplicity. No scandal, no headline drama, no forced narrative, just two people entering a new year with grace, and fans witnessing it together. As the days passed, reactions didn't fade. They softened. Fans replayed the messages, shared clips, wrote thoughtful posts, not demanding answers, but expressing gratitude. And maybe that's the most powerful part. Park Bo-gum and Kim Yoo-jung didn't give fans something to argue about. They gave them something to feel. In an industry where noise often overshadows meaning, this quiet New Year moment stood out because it reminded fans why they fell in love with these actors in the first place. Not for drama, but for heart. As the year unfolds, no one knows what paths lie ahead. Projects will come. Stories will change. Lives will evolve. But this New Year greeting will remain a moment fans remember. A moment that felt warm. A moment that felt shared. A moment that felt like love, without needing a label. So as fans step into the year ahead, they carry that feeling with them. That sometimes the most emotional moments are the quiet ones. And sometimes, starting the year with love doesn't require a declaration. Just sincerity, just warmth, just two hearts wishing the world well at the same time. The days kept moving forward, but the feeling stayed. That soft sense of reassurance didn't disappear once the calendar flipped and schedules resumed. Instead, it followed fans into their routines, during quiet mornings, late night scrolling, and moments when the year already felt heavy. People began to realize something important. This New Year greeting wasn't just a message meant for January. It was something meant to last. As interviews, updates, and industry news slowly returned, fans noticed how both Park Bo-gum and Kim Yoo-jung carried the same calm energy forward. Nothing felt forced. Nothing felt rushed. Park Bo-gum spoke about choosing projects carefully, about wanting stories that heal rather than exhaust. Kim Yoo-jung, in her own moments, shared thoughts about growth, balance, and trusting timing. Again, separate voices, yet the same emotional language. Fans quietly connected the dots, not to create rumors, not to push narratives, but because emotional consistency is rare. And when two people show it at the same time, people feel it instinctively. Some fans said it felt like watching two people who had learned how to protect their inner world. They weren't chasing noise anymore. They weren't proving anything. They were simply standing where they were, with confidence and grace. And that's when the New Year greeting took on a deeper meaning. It felt less like a seasonal message, and more like a reflection of who they had become. Many fans admitted that this moment helped them personally. I decided not to rush my goals this year. I stopped feeling guilty for resting. I realized calm can be powerful too. These weren't comments about celebrities anymore. They were conversations about life. That's what made this moment so special. It crossed the screen. It crossed fandom. And it settled somewhere deeper. Even fans who joined late, those who watched the greeting days or weeks after it was released, felt the same thing. They didn't feel left out. They felt welcomed, as if the message wasn't bound by time. As discussions continued, people began to talk less about what this means and more about how this feels. And that shift changed everything. Because feelings don't need confirmation. They don't need proof. They simply exist. Park Bo-gum's steady warmth. Kim Yoo-jung's gentle sincerity. Together, even without sharing a space, they reminded fans of something rare in entertainment. That kindness can be quiet. That maturity can be moving. And that presence matters more than spectacle. Some fans said this was the first time a New Year greeting made them emotional without knowing why. Others said it felt like closure for a difficult year. And for many, it felt like hope without pressure. As the year stretches ahead, expectations remain low, and that's the beauty of it. No one is waiting for a moment to explode. No one is demanding answers. Fans are simply grateful. Grateful for warmth. Grateful for sincerity. Grateful for a reminder that gentleness still exists in a loud world. And perhaps that's why this moment will be remembered. Not as a headline, not as a rumor, but as a quiet beginning. A beginning where two familiar faces reminded millions that starting over doesn't have to be dramatic. Sometimes, all it takes is a heartfelt message and the courage to move forward with kindness. And as the weeks passed, something interesting happened. The conversation didn't fade. Usually, moments like this burn bright and disappear just as quickly, replaced by the next headline or trending topic. But this one lingered. It stayed in fan spaces, in comment sections, in late-night discussions where people weren't chasing excitement, but comfort. Fans began revisiting old interviews, old clips, old behind-the-scenes moments that suddenly felt different when viewed through the lens of where Park Bo-gum and Kim Yoo-jung are now. Not younger, not louder, just steadier. People noticed how both of them had changed over the years, not in a dramatic way, but in a way that only comes from experience. Park Bo-gum's smile still carried warmth, but there was depth behind it now. Kim Yoo-jung's bright presence still shone, yet it was grounded, rooted in self-awareness rather than youthful urgency. It felt like watching two people who had grown into themselves. Fans started saying the same thing in different words. They feel safe. They feel sincere. They feel real. In an industry built on performance, that kind of authenticity stands out. What truly touched people was how neither of them tried to capitalize on the moment. No extra posts, no dramatic follow-ups, no teasing. They let the message breathe. And in doing so, they trusted the audience to feel it, not dissect it. That trust mattered, because fans didn't feel manipulated. They felt respected. Some fans shared how the New Year greeting had become something they replayed during hard days. Not because of what was said, but because of how it was said. There was no urgency in their voices, no pressure in their expressions, just a quiet assurance that life doesn't need to be rushed to be meaningful. As January turned into February, both Park Bo-gum and Kim Yoo-jung slowly returned to their individual paths. Different schedules, different projects, different spaces. Yet the emotional thread remained unbroken. Fans didn't feel like they were being pulled apart. They felt like they were watching two people walk forward with intention. Industry insiders even commented on the shift, not as gossip, but as observation. They noted how both stars had entered a phase of their careers defined by selectiveness, clarity, and balance. This wasn't about chasing visibility anymore. It was about longevity, and fans admired that deeply, because it mirrored what many of them wanted for themselves. Less noise, more meaning. Some said this was the first time they felt proud, not excited, about celebrities they admired. Proud of how they carried themselves. Proud of their emotional intelligence. Proud of their restraint. The New Year greeting slowly transformed into something symbolic. It became a reminder that you don't have to announce change for it to be real. You don't have to explain growth for it to be visible. Sometimes, people can simply feel it. And that's why, even now, the moment still resonates. Not because it promised anything, but because it asked nothing. As fans look ahead, they aren't waiting for a reunion. They aren't demanding a confirmation. They're just watching with warmth, with patience, with trust, because some connections aren't meant to be defined. They're meant to be felt. And in a year just beginning, Park Bo-gum and Kim Yoo-jung gave fans something rare. A sense of calm hope. The kind that doesn't shout. The kind that stays. And perhaps that's the most powerful New Year gift of all.